Welcome everyone to another episode of Sci Friday with Mason. It's a lovely fall evening. On Sunday, September 21st, I'm giving a talk in Peebles, Ohio, as part of a conference held by the people who run the Serpent Mound. Great earthwork. And my talk is about the little people. And this seems a good day to recycle a story that I've written about several times. It's called Magnus and the Hidden People. So, traditions of alternate beings, they're human-like, but they're magical. They exist in a great many world cultures. You'd be shocked how popular they are. But there probably isn't a single nation in the world where the living belief in fairy folk is as strong as Iceland. And in the summer of 2013, I was interviewed by Iceland's most prominent expert in the hidden people, that is, the huldufólk. That's what the Icelanders call them. It was the morning of July 1st, 2013, when I got an email from a dear friend at Lilydale, Dr. Patricia Bell, and she and her friend, my friend too, Tom Kratzley, were hosting Iceland's foremost expert on the hidden people, Magnus Skarphedinsson. He was working on a documentary for Icelandic television, and he was aware of my writing and research into the Iroquois, the Six Nations peoples, upstate New York traditions of the fairy folk. And so we met, got out the camera, started filming me, and he asked me a bunch of questions. Now, Magnus seemed to take it as a given that the hidden people of Iceland and the little people of the Six Nations of upstate New York were just about the same thing, just different interpretations of the same phenomenon. And while I'm not too sure about that, I didn't really get the chance to tell him. I just answered questions. But I have to tell you that many of his questions that he asked to me, he sort of had the attitude of a guy who had interviewed so many startled eyewitnesses that he had a sense of belief. I mean, this guy may not believe in the folklore of the hidden people, but he sure as hell believes something is out there. I kind of believe that too. But one of his most interesting questions was, why do I think belief in the fairies, tradition, is diminishing in the United States? And I said, well, I don't know, it's doing it everywhere. But I think people have changed. We're not as out in nature as we were. Our minds have changed a bit. We don't have the patience we used to. I mean, if you're going to witness something supernatural, you might have to be really paying attention, You might have to be more patient than we tend to be. But one of the interesting questions he asked me was, why do the fairy folk take children? I said, I don't know that they do, but it's an aspect of fairy folklore worldwide. Everywhere these alternate magical beings that look like people, sometimes small, everywhere in the world they exist, they are associated with nature, with the human dead. It's not like when you die you become a fairy. It's more like the other world where people go when they die is similar to or close to fairyland. But the third factor that all fairy folk are involved with is an interest in human children. And we ended the interview when he had a question that seemed really important to him. He said, "Have you met people who have been taken as children?" I said, "Well, not sure I've met anyone who was, but I've met people who said they knew people who were." And he goes, "Did they come back okay?" I go, "Well, not really, It was like the experience was too much for them. They didn't fit really well into the life we all lead, even for a short time with the fair folk." And Magnus, he furrowed his brows and he thought a little bit and he goes, "Same thing in Iceland." He goes, "People who come back, been with the fairy folk." He goes, "Sometimes people vanish in Iceland, and we're fairly sure they were taken by the hidden people. Sometimes a child will be seen wandering off with a stranger in old-time clothing, and a family member will run out and rescue them. And sometimes people vanish, and you don't know what becomes of them. But if they do come back, they're never the same." Thanks for joining us on this installment of Sci Friday with Mason. If you happen to be in downstate Ohio, South Central Ohio, you're near the Serpent Mound, maybe you can join my talk on Sunday, September 21st at 1. For now, see you next week.